All right, guys. Phenomenal morning. Phenomenal morning, guys. Listen, the reason why we play the intro over and over again, just so that you're aware, is so that you can share this out, right? So you can share this out. We play the intro over and over again, so you could take that time to know it's coming on and say, "Go ahead, let me share this out, guys." Absolutely phenomenal morning. This is your breakfast with the brand. I am your host, Sean Wright East. As always, it is a pleasure to be here with you this morning. As always, I am flanked by the phenomenal Bobby Jackson, guys. I hope you're doing phenomenal because I promise you, we have something coming for you that is so big that is going to change the landscape of branding as you know it. Bobby Jackson, how you feeling this morning, brother?
I'm feeling phenomenal, coach. Feeling phenomenal. I was thinking about this being the second Friday of the year. Second Friday of the year. So it's payday Friday for many people. Payday Friday.
Okay.
Um, but what it made me think about was payday weekend versus the payday weeks that never end. So I was just thinking about
Mm.
the difference between being an employee and a business owner, because
Whew.
at this stage, in my business, I'm trying to get paid every day. That's my goal. And I think everybody's got different goals, but I've been able to close on, say, different days. I've been able to close on the 1st and the 15th. Now it's closing every day. So congratulations to those that made it to another payday weekend. And are you leveraging those payday weekends to your fullest? And for those that are entrepreneurs, make every day a payday. So that's kind of what I was feeling like. It's the first payday weekend of the year.
Wow. You know something, Bobby? You know something that's like tremendously surprising? I literally had no clue. I literally have no clue. Like I have lost all remnants of that world, right? I don't know what pay dates drop. I don't know what like holidays exist that are federal and all that stuff. Like I just crush it, right? I'm completely unbeknownst to that stuff. You know something that's super interesting, right? My father would have known that. My father would have known that. And I kind of segmented yesterday into a little bit of my father's story and how my father walked off a job one year because they wouldn't give him MLK Day off, right? So my father had a job and they refused to recognize him. They refused to recognize and respect and honor and give dignity and integrity to leadership at that time. And they refused to give him the day off for MLK Day. So he walked off the job. And now, fast forward, look at the generational narrative switch. We talked about code switching yesterday and switching the narrative. Now, his son, literally 5 years removed, 5, 6 years removed from corporate, maybe 4 or 5 years removed from corporate, has no memory of what that even looks like. Not to own a business, not to have your own, not to pay like I pay out. Like I don't look for paychecks. Like we close deals every single day, right? And every single day it rolls in. So I want you to think about changing the narrative and to what degree you're going to change your narrative. That's what this whole business is about. This whole branding, leadership, legacy, love, passion, purpose, and performance. That's what this is about. Helping you to decide, and then have the discipline to dominate in your vertical and distinguish the differences in your narrative and everyday experience that is going to be so much different than the generations that came before you. This is your breakfast with the brand. We're not playing over here. There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 + 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 + 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 + 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 + 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a zero to you, you can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy.
This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Okay, guys, watch this. So Bobby just let me know like the volume is low, right? In the studio or in the office, the acoustics are stronger. There's more pop, right? And that's because of the microphone. That's because of the microphone that I use in the studio or in the office, guys. So listen, I want you to understand that you get to choose your vertical. I love what Chris just said. I think it's Chris. Give me a second. Let me pull this up real quick. Yep. 3 types of people you target market. So what Bobby Jackson just notified is that low income households are based on payday, middle class, and wealthy class. You need to define your target market, right? You need to define your target market, and that's a fact because the quality of your decisions will determine the quality of your life. Very, very, very important here, guys. The quality of your decisions will determine the quality of your life. So I did not look to serve the impoverished. I chose to give freely to those who could not afford the services. However, when it comes to business, I work with people that have high levels of education, experience, and expertise, which results in high levels of economy. It's really not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. A lot of people want to serve people that come from a socioeconomic stratified background, and I get it. Me too, right? But when I was doing that, I realized that the society didn't value them to the point where I could make a decent quality of living while doing that. So I had to be a strategist and I had to play chess instead of checkers. And I said, you know what? I'm going to serve the highest value where the people are valued, the highest economy earning, and then disseminate value amongst those who cannot otherwise afford it. Strategy.
This is an incredible topic because as Martin Luther King Day approaches and we talk about the freedom marches, we talk about the boycotts, we talk about all the different things that take place for freedom. You know, freedom's not free. And that's what we've been talking about, financial freedom, the ability to actually be free, to have your own opinion. So what came to my mind was, is there a cost too high for freedom? And I don't think there is, personally. You know, I think that if you really want to be free, then you can pay any cost. But what that really brought to my mind was risk in general. You know, business is risky. But I love what Les Brown said. He's like, or it was either Les Brown or it was the other gentleman. I can't think of his name, but Sean will probably know exactly who I'm talking about when I share this analogy. He said that life is risky. It's so risky that you can't get out alive. So you might as well have a good time.
That's Jim Rohn.
Jim
Rohn.
Rohn.
Yeah, that's Jim Rohn all day.
You might as well have a good time.
You're not going to get out of the way he used to say it was, you're not going to get out alive. You know, you're not
Yeah.
going to get out alive. Like none of us, you know,
Mhm.
right? So while you're here, you might as well have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm going to
And
say spare no expense. Spare no expense, guys. Spare no expense. I'm in one of the most expensive colleges that exist. One of the most expensive college. When I saw, listen, guys, watch this. So I want you to like take a walk with me real quick. I'm getting the education. I'm doing the experience piece. I got the gig. Like I'm a consultant already, and I'm looking to scale myself. And I know in order to scale myself and add a zero to my number, I have to add a zero to me. So I'm a consultant. I'm consulting in the state of New York with the state of New York, Fortune 500 company. So I say, okay, I want to raise my price. I want to raise my vertical. I want to become the only viable option. And I looked at two different colleges. I was in a college and I was looking at the different ones that I was going to go to. I started in I got like 25% of an MBA in the Jack Welch Management Institute, Strayer University, while he was still alive. I had the pleasure of speaking with the CEO of the Century for a half of a year before he passed away. So when I say that what I tell you is evidence based, it's not hyperbole. It's not like I really sat down with the people and spoke with the people. And as I was learning from him, I understood the value of leadership development, the value of marketing mastery, the value of people development, all of those things, culture, quality, character. And then when he passed away, it was funny because I looked at the higher priced college first. And when I saw the price, Bobby, I said, ooh, I said, I've never seen a price like that. I said, nah, hold up. I said, I'm not paying that. I said, I'm not paying that. I could have, but I chose not to. And I went to the Jack Welch piece. And when I was in there with Jack Welch, he taught me the importance of investing to the highest degree in yourself. So, you know, I had the conversation with him and he said, Sean, like I spent everything and lost. Like I've had nights where I had to lie to my spouse because if she knew what I invested in General Electric, I'd have been done. We'd have been over. But now I'm able to take care of her to the highest degree possible. And I was like, it made a lot of sense, man. It was the same thing I wanted to do, right? It was the same thing that I wanted to do. So when he passed, I said, now's the time. And I went back and I went ahead and I'm in that college now. I've been in that college for almost 7 years now. That's where I got one of my master's degrees and I'm getting both doctorates. Spare no expense. Spare no expense because you only live once. And you might as well enjoy the best.
yeah, man, this is such a timely call because I know a lot of us right now might feel like I felt not too long ago. And I felt like nobody understands what it takes to meet the demand required to give your life or your family what they deserve. Like nobody really understands unless they're actively doing it. So
That's
when
right.
you're going through the process, you're like, everybody's seeing. I heard a guy once say that when you're making the most of yourself and developing yourself, everyone else around you becomes more, their frequency becomes more apparent to you. It's like if they're not growing, you can see it more, especially if you're growing faster because you're like moving. And if you're stagnant, you can see people and you're like, you don't really know this. But the more you grow, the more you scale yourself, the more you see this distance. So I think one of the biggest things we struggle with as executives, business owners, highly educated people seeking the best is seeing the people around us more clearly, right? Because when we're all in the same bucket together, oh, misery loves company. But the moment you start climbing out of that bucket for the people that you do it for, and you start to see who you used to be, because you were just like them, you all were in one pot together, and you start to move out of that pot, they start to appear ungrateful to you. But at one point, you all were in the same bucket. They start to appear lazy to you. But at one point, you all did the same thing. So I think that it's really interesting for us that love our spouses, love our family, love the people we serve, to really take that leadership step and say, it. And it's nothing even I think you can say. It's almost just like, do you love them enough to see who you allowed them to become because of who you were? And it's like this whole experience, right? So I want to encourage anyone that's going through it right now to take it on the chin and really embrace that experience of saying, wow, this is who we were. And I was just like that. And I cannot change what we've been through with my words. I have to change it with my actions. And they're not going to start to acquiesce and assimilate until I actualize and elevate. And I think that's a pretty tough thing to do.
You know, Bobby, you just made me think of something. But what I thought of is so powerful. It's like a revelation, right? So what it just kind of made me remember and reconnect with is so powerful that I'm going to wait until we come back from the break. Guys, share this out.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire and heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes.
Watch this, Bobby. Watch this. So if you guys know my story, if you don't, then this is what it is, right? I was in college and I was looking at the higher performing, the higher profitability psychological roles, because I was serving the vertical that was underappreciated by society. And I realized that in order to be more, do more, and have more, so I could give more, I had to learn more. I had to literally learn more and become more. So I had to invest more time in my own development. So I'm looking at these three different verticals. One is psychology, one is psychology, one is the psychiatrist, and the other one is the industrial and organizational psychiatrist, the industrial and organizational psychologist. So the psychologist, the general psychologist, gives prescriptions, the psychiatrist fulfills prescriptions. Either way, they're basically disseminating drugs. And I'm from Harlem. So I don't have to go to college to know how to do that. And I just said, that's not what I want to do. It doesn't align with my morals, values, and principles. Just not for me. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, just not for me. Been there, done that, not enthused anymore. Then I looked at industrial and organizational psychology, and in their curriculum, they had words that were foreign to me. Leadership development, leadership just by itself, intrinsic motivation, high performance, executive presence, executive coaching, organizational development. I'm from Harlem again. These words are foreign to me, but I see the massive amounts of success that people are having and companies are having with these attributes, studying this secret science. And I'm like, hold on, I should know about this stuff. I think Harlem needs to know about this stuff. I think Brooklyn needs to know about these things. I think the inner cities of Detroit and Philadelphia, I think we should know about these things. And I said, well, let me think about who's the business leader that looks like me that comes from a disparaging background. And I couldn't think of one. I'm 30 and change at the time, and I couldn't think of one example. So I said, you know what? And I thought of my children. Deciding factor. Who do you love and how much? Deciding factor. Who do you love and how much? I thought of my children and I said, listen, to myself. I said, self, listen. If you're 30 and change and you can't think of a leader in business who's crushing it and dominating it, it comes from your background, then neither can your children. And if you do not assume the responsibility, build the discipline, make the sacrifice, do the work, then you're going to pass that responsibility down to them. And it was no longer an option. It was an obligation. It was no longer a choice. It was a conviction. So this is what I did. And now to what Bobby said about being the example. Now I get to sit in first class. And I sit in first class specifically so that people like me can see people like them in first class while they walk further back. Everyone that comes through, I'm giving them acknowledgement. I'm saying yes. I'm looking at them. As soon as they see me, their eyes light up and they're like, huh, like we're here. And I'm like, yes, we are. And you can be too. There's room for you. So listen, guys, I promise you, there's room for you in first class. There's room for you to buy your homes and your cars in cash. There's room for you in the top 1% and in the top 0.01%.
It's so inspiring when we think about the possibilities. The possibilities. Like,
there's room for you.
I remember not knowing what was possible before I came into the brand. Like, I knew about money. Obviously, I studied finance in college. Like, I understood money from a theological level, or not theological. The word is technical. That's the word I was looking for. From a technical level and from a theoretical level. But when you actually start making money and you start generating and moving currency through your activity, what is really interesting is that money, you start to realize that it's not what you think it is. At least that was my experience. A lot of us think that money is just something that we trade and we get services from. But what my experience was very simple. That the amount of money you have is based on the quality of person you are. And I thought that that was very interesting. And that's what Branded Like a Leader showed me. It was like, brand you, not what you do. And the income that you have is based on the brand that you've had. And when you change that brand and when you position yourself differently and you speak about yourself differently and you just see the world differently, you change the face of your leadership, right? And when you change that face and you look in the mirror and you say, this is who I am, and you level yourself up and just really start going into this new direction, what I have found is that money is nothing more than a byproduct of your movements. And you just have to know if you're moving in the right direction, which is something that Sean shared before. Is like everybody's got the grind generally. Most people have got the energy, but we are applying ourselves and using our energy to go in a direction that's not conducive to where we really want to be. So this is just inspiring to me as I've been going through the process.
That's something that you said earlier, and something that I said about being the example and sparing no expense. Sparing no expense. Something that I study success. I study success, and a lot of times I'll see people. So listen, my father took risks and traveled long distances to come back and show his son what success looked like. Now, Sean Rais takes risks and makes huge investments so that my children and other people can look at me and see what success looks like. And I always espouse luxury, high quality of life. You're about to see so much more when we launch the Sean Rais website on MLK Day. Listen, guys, when I talk about the laugh of luxury, when I talk about the epitome of leadership, legacy, love, passion, purpose, and performance, it boils down to this, right? You can do a couple different things. I study all versions of success. So I think of when Jay-Z was asked, he was told, you're not in Brooklyn anymore. Why don't you do more in Brooklyn? And now he just put the library up. He just put the library in Brooklyn. But before he was able to do that, they kept asking him, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you there anymore? Why aren't you physically there anymore? He said, the best thing that I could do for my people is to succeed at a super high degree. He said, the best thing that I could do for my people is get rich so they could see the possibilities that exist. I'm talking to somebody right now. I'm talking to somebody right now. The best thing that you can do is succeed to a super high degree so that the people that watch you, the people that love you, the people that follow you, the people whose example you are entrusted, or the people who you are the example for, can see you rich, succeeding at a super high level, affording your opinion. Don't say no. Okay, so everybody doesn't want a Rolex. Everybody doesn't want a Rolex. Everybody doesn't want the S class. That's okay. But don't say no to it because you have to. Say no to it if you do because you choose to. That's all I'm saying. And explain the choice if you choose to live a little bit less lavish. Explain the choice to your children and let them know that if it was my choice, I could get it, and show them and walk them through it. Me, sometimes I'll go get it and let you see me in it so you can see yourself in it.
Wow. So many things that I'm thinking about with my family, because I've got teenagers, I've got toddlers, and I've got a middle son, like 12. And they all see different aspects of this. And it's super interesting because my youngest children won't have any idea of what the older kids experienced. And it's like they're going to have leaps and bounds. Like I have a 1-year-old. And by the time that their memory is really strong, say 3-4 years, it's very likely that I'll have hit the 7 figures and beyond by then if I keep at this pace.
That's definite.
Right? I keep grinding this thing out. 4 years from now, all they're going to know, they're going to be 5 years old. They're going to be going to kindergarten, and they're going to maybe, I might have an in-school nanny or in-home nanny educating them. Who knows? But what I do know is that their life is going to be so different from the lives of their older siblings. And this is just letting me know that this generational curse breaking stuff is serious, and it's a real responsibility. And if you can take it by the horns, there's a story about a man who was an Egyptian once, and he was Hebrew. He was raised as an Egyptian, though. They call him Moses. Some of you all may know the story. Now, Moses was this guy who led the people out of Egypt. But the part of this story that I want to talk about is the generational development that happened. So they were in the wilderness for like 40 years. And during this time, there were people that understood what life was like being in Egypt. There were people that knew what life was like being in the wilderness. And there were people that knew what life was like in the promised land. And it took one man to take people from Egypt to the wilderness to the promised land in one lifetime, but it affected 3 generations. And I thought that was really, really interesting. One man, one lifetime, 3 generational impacts. What is your life?
Guys, yeah, go ahead. What was that last line?
Yeah. So what is your life going to impact? How many generations can you pack into one lifetime?
Whew, come on. How many generations can you pack into one lifetime? So I love, and I hear this all the time because I only move around extremely wealthy people. And I remember one gentleman saying that I've passed 4 generations. He said 4 generations of mine will not want for anything. He said my revenue will take care of the next 4 generations. He said I'm working on the 5th now. He said I'm not stopping. I'm working on the 5th generation now. I'm going harder than ever before. He said, I'm going harder than ever before. I said, why? He said, because I'm working on the 5th generation. So listen, guys, sometimes when you say like, how much money is enough? How much money is enough? How much success is enough? How many degrees are enough? How many books are enough? How many clients are enough? How many communities are enough? How many streams of revenue are enough? The average millionaire has 7 streams of revenue. The average billionaire adds a 0 to the 7 and has 70 streams of revenue. And they're still helping people. So we have sometimes a miscommunication and misunderstanding about money. And we say, well, what is enough? How much is enough? Maybe this is enough. Maybe I should stop here. I'll say, never stop. Never stop building, because if what Bobby said is true, and it is, that wealth is a determinant of your self-development and the brand that you built for yourself, then why would you stop building yourself? And you'll find this to be true. The more you build yourself, the more you build generational wealth, the more of a proper steward of the example that you set for the people that follow behind you, the more encouraged and the more emboldened and the more enlivened you'll be to do just that. So I don't know what your next is, right? I don't know what your next is. Maybe you're in college getting a degree. Maybe you're looking at the pen like, I know I should have wrote the book last year. Maybe you're looking at the course. Maybe you're looking at Branded Like a Leader and wondering if that should be your next option. Maybe you're looking at speaking to people. Listen, guys, it's the Rockefeller mindset. It's the Rockefeller mindset. Enough is never enough. Enough is enough when you say it's enough. And when you get on this train of travel, when you get into this lap of luxury, you're not going to want to stop. Let me say this: you don't have to compromise your morals, values, and principles. Let me assure you that. Right now, I'm in a luxurious surrounding, and the humidor in back of me will not be open for me. Just so that we're clear, the humidor in back of me holding the expensive wines will not be open for me. Right? So I can make money and still have morals, values, and principles. I don't drink, I don't smoke. You understand? Money doesn't change that. Money only negatively impacts negative individuals and those with no discipline. However, if your moral compass is set firmly and you have your objectives, you do not need to lose your morality as you become a millionaire and a multimillionaire. You don't have to do it. You don't have to compromise, is what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, you'll be able to give more. You'll be able to serve more. You'll be able to think more. And a CEO's highest value is their thinking. The CEO's highest value is your thinking. So watch this. How many people say, I wish there was more time in a day? I wish there was just one more hour. Well, when you have wealth, you can determine how many hours you have. And you can determine how many hours other people have. Listen, I'm about to get assistants for assistants so that they have assistants and they can buy back their time and have more time. We can generate time when we think correctly. We can generate. I love what Shay just said, how much freedom is enough? There's no level to it. And that's very well known to people who once had none. In the spirit of MLK Day, 3, 4 days away, today, Saturday, Sunday, and guys, I'm so excited you guys are about to see this website. I've been working on this for a nice amount of time. I didn't know it 17 years ago that I was actually making the decisions that would lead up to it. You're making decisions now that will lead up to your story, that are pieces of your story. Make sure you've got a goal and a vision that is so huge that you can chase it for the next 50 to 100 years, because that'll give you purpose. That'll give you a reason to eat healthy. That'll give you a reason to work out and exercise. That'll give you a reason to drink more water. That'll give you a reason to cut people off that are negative impact and negative, less than empaths, but they have a negative impact on your life and your business and the people around you. You'll get clarity when you really get sincere and you get focused and you get driven by that huge, huge vision. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. We're going to have one more break, but I want you to think, what are you creating and who are you creating it for? Let's grow.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
All right, guys. So let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. You see, we're moving around now. We're mobile. I just wanted to go ahead and bring you back here for a moment. Let me bring you back here for a moment now. We're able to, at this point, shut the entire thing down. So there's no movement, right? Oh, okay, good. All right, so Bobby Jackson gonna be back in a minute. I want to talk to you for a moment about this website that's coming. I've got something so phenomenal for you on this website that's coming. You are not, I promise you, you're gonna be on this thing for days trying to figure out where everything goes, where everything loops. If you're like me, you probably got a lot of ideas. You probably got a lot of ideas and a big vision, a huge vision. Put it in the chat if you got a huge vision, guys. Put it in the chat if you got a huge vision and you're wondering, how do I figure it all out? How do I put it all together? How do I make it make sense? There's so many things I want to do because I have so many skills. I have so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many passions, so many talents, so many skills. How do I get it all out of me? Watch this. The right amount of money. Hear me clearly. The right amount of money will help you gain clarity. Yeah, look, huge vision, huge. Now we talking, right? Huge vision. Okay, so Michelle says huge vision. I think this is Bradley, huge vision. Me, every day, huge vision. So many ideas, so many passions, so many talents. Look, let's go. Look. Enormous vision, enormous vision. The right amount of revenue. The right amount of revenue will help you bring the people to you. Yes, the multiple ideas. The right amount of revenue will bring the people to you that will help you to give life to your vision. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people that will help you bring life to your vision. I've done it with Bobby. Bobby had a lot of ideas, a lot of visions, a lot of talents, a huge passion, a huge purpose, but not the exact steps to take. But he had enough belief in himself to make the investments in himself that changed the rest of his life. Retired the wife, retired himself from the military, 400% revenue increase, over and over and over again, seamlessly. So this is just an example of how the right amount of revenue will allow you to attract the right people, make the right investments, so that you can transform your visions into a reality. Now, when you see the website, let me go ahead and put that up. When you see the website, you're going to see what it really looks like. What a huge, intricate vision looks like when there's so many different moving pieces. When you see this website, you'll be like, okay, there's no way in God's name that Sean could have done all of this by himself. No way. No way. I have the best of the very best team, the hardest working team, guys. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap investment, nor is it a fast investment. These investments, the best investments, take copious amounts, huge amounts of time and huge amounts of money to bring to life. But if you're here, you're on the pathway. If you're here, you're in the right place. And what I'm going to do is make sure that you get to the, look, sneak peek. Christopher wants a sneak peek. No, sir. No, sir. It goes live when it goes live. And listen, I'm going to tell you why, right? I couldn't give you a sneak peek. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say for a sneak peek. Get a passport. Get your passport. That's a sneak peek. That's a hint. It's so huge that the United States won't be able to comprise it. Get your passport. Get your passport, because in 2024, we go international. Yeah. I've been talking about the Rais Leadership and Business International, Rais International School of Leadership and Business for years now. Now you're going to see what it looks like. So get your passport. Get your passport. That's the sneak peek. That's the sneak peek. Shade says huge, huge vision, huge vision. Huge visions require huge revenue. Who can respect the pyramids? Who likes the pyramids? You know, the pyramids in Egypt, or the sphinxes. Look at the hands. Look at the hands. Look at the fire. Do you think those were cheap? Do you think those didn't cost huge amounts of money? The medium of exchange at that time, and years of time or decades to bring the reality, those didn't happen like that. They took a huge amount of manpower, huge amount of vision, huge amount of revenue, huge amount of time. So get comfortable is what I'm going to say to you. Get comfortable in the process. Get comfortable in the process and start working feverishly. And I'll give you one more cue of what to do. Serve. Serve like your life depends on it, because your quality of life does. Serve like your life depends on it, because the quality of your life does depend on the quality and level, quality and quantity of your service. And those in the military know it to be true. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. You can make the same money, but have different decorations, have different, and in reality, in business, your revenue, your wealth will be determined by the health of your service. You can tell who's making money because they're always serving people. If you're not serving, you're not earning. If you're not serving, you're not earning. And people who have their business in their heads, they're not revenue rich because they're not service rich. They're thinking about their business. They're overthinking their business. Stop thinking and start serving. Stop thinking and start doing. Start executing. Stop planning sometimes and get busy in the marketplace. When I stopped planning, that's when I became successful. I just do stuff. I promise you, if I get an idea, I'll take the phone and I'll shoot the video. That's how we built the business. We built the business because when COVID happened, I did not think. I responded quick. And I figured it out along the way. I attracted people to my movement. People like Junior, people like Bobby, people like, we attracted people to us. Photographers, we attracted people to us. Publicists, we attracted people to us. Clients, we attracted people to us because I was feverishly hot and insane when it came to movement. I was not stopping. Nothing was going to stop me from helping the people at all. That's what leadership does. Leadership responds. Leadership responds. So I'm going to tell you, if you want to build your business, if you want to build your revenue, if you want to be free, serve, 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 over serve, over deliver, and you will over receive until your cup runneth over. That's a guarantee. And you could take it from me. It's evidence-based. It's not hyperbole. It's not my opinion. It's my life. This is evident. We're able to do the things that we do because we serve to the degree that we serve. Or let me say it this way. We're able to do the things that we're able to do because we do the things that we do. We don't talk about it or think about the things that we do for too long. Too much thought will weaken your execution. The highest value resource of a CEO is their thinking, but too much thought will dilute the moment. There's a moment in time when you have to execute. And to your question, Christopher, and to everyone's question, because I know they all have it, right? I know you guys are thinking like, what could it look like? What could it possibly be? How big is it? How many pages is it? Listen, the day of execution, the moment of execution, the minute of execution is 11:59, 11:59 p.m. January 14th. That 1 minute is going to change everything. I hope you're there. I can't wait for you guys to see this. This is my coup d'etat. Like, this has been, it will be the biggest thing that we've done since the Crickets to Digits and the 450 in less than 90, right? It's so huge that I had to memorialize it in some way. And the way that I memorialize it the most and the best, I think to the highest possible degree, is to tie it in with the example that was set by those who came before us, seeking a freedom, seeking a justice, seeking an equality that wasn't present at the time. Those who were able to sacrifice and lay their lives on their line for what they believed in, their causes, their morals, their values, their performance matched their principles. They gave everything until there was no more to give. And then I also commemorated it with a day that my father was unable to get. So he took it. There's going to be some things in your life that people don't want to give you. And you're going to have to take them. That's right. There's going to be some things in your life that people are not going to want to just give you. And those things you're going to have to take, not with violence, not with force, but with intelligence, education, experience, and expertise. Those things might look like impact, income, and independence. I'm so glad to spend this time with you guys. I cannot wait for you to see this. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard, same time, same place. Let's grow.